Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Now, some of these are limited.
What was that?
I think it was Blue Monday.
Man, there was an original pressing.
Purple Rain.
No.
Sign of the Times.
Definitely not.
The Batman soundtrack.
Throw it.
Oh, Dire Straits.
Throw it.
Hello and welcome to this week's Monday Movie Show. I'm Stuart.
I'm Andrew.
Andrew?
Andrew.
It sounded like you called yourself Andy.
I was going to say Andy, and then I thought, no, I'll say Andrew, and I got sort of stuck between the two.
You screwed up your own name. Good start. We have a lot to get through on tonight's show, including
that's why,
4
unfortunately,
reviews.
we're a bit late, because we were really trying to sort all that out.
Yeah, including 4 reviews. They include...
zombie release of World War Z. The Rock is back in Snitch. We have a haunted house, which is, well, you'll get to that in a minute. And then a thriller, Black Rock.
Yeah, as usual, we also have the UK box office top 10 and some movie news. If you're listening to us live, check the box at the bottom hand corner of your screen and join us in the live chat. Don't bother joining us in live chat or something when it's recorded. It's pointless. You'll not get us. Right, let's kick off with some movie news. A lot of movie news.
Yeah. Start off with a very sad piece of news. First of all, James Gandolfini, star of the hit TV series The Sopranos, has died at the age of 51. The actor was on holiday in Italy where he suffered a heart attack and was best known for his anxiety-prone mobster Tony Soprano in the HBO series, but also starred in a variety of roles, including recently The Taking of Pelham 123, Where the Wild Things Are, and Killing Them Softly.
It is really sad news. I know Stuart from Page to Screen, a podcast that we're involved with. He's done a 45-minute special episode of his show, which is dedicated to James Gandolfini. I think it was an interview that he did for Inside the Actors Studio. So you should check that out. Yeah,
I mean, he was one of those actors who was such a personality. It's going to be a shame that, I mean, you not seeing anything else now. That's a real shame because he brings so much to his performances.
Yeah.
Other news that we've got this week, going to go through these very quickly. In a statement released last week, Sony announced that Spider-Man 3 and 4 have had dates set for them. They will be released on June 10th, 2016 and May 4th, 2018. Spider-Man 2 is due to be released next year on May the 2nd. That's
really looking forward, far forward into the future there, isn't it?
Yeah, and ensuring that they keep hold of the rights, because it's one of those things. If they don't make a film for so long, the rights will go back to Marvel, and they know that they'll lose money if they do that.
Smart move from them.
Yeah, but a bit annoying because it means there's less chance of him appearing in Avengers. The remake of Highlander has been thrown into chaos once more after previously losing directors Justin Lin and Juan Carlos Fresnadillo. The movie has now lost its attached star Ryan Reynolds, who will no longer be playing the title character originally played by Christopher Lambert in the 1986 movie. There's no reason been given for his departure.
Will that film ever get shot? I hope not.
Yeah, I really, to be honest, hope as well. There's no point. It's not necessary. The original was a classic, although the sequels are... You really wish they had never been made at all. Fox is looking to hire writer Jack Paglen to write the screenplay for the sequel to Prometheus. Ridley Scott is said to have signed off on Paglen's story idea, and a deal has been expected to be announced soon. No word has been given yet on when the movie is aimed to be released, but it will most likely be a summer release given the first movie's worldwide gross of $403 million.
Yeah, I would like to see a sequel. There needs to be a sequel to it anyway, at least one extra film in the universe of it.
I would like to see 2 more. I'd like to see a trilogy of it. And somehow have it more establish a connection with the Alien franchise, because it is linked, obviously. But I'd like to see more
leading up to the first Alien film.
Yeah, it's got to show that ship being found, or even that. You have it end with someone with it inside the ship, and then you have John Hurt's character walk in the suit, and that'd be the end of it. That'd be great.
Yeah.
The movie adaptation of 50 Shades of Grey has a director attached, Sam Taylor Johnson, the female director from Britain who has been hired by Universal to direct E.L. James' bestseller with a budget of around $40 million.
Yeah, 50 Shades of no thanks. You're definitely reviewing that. I'm not stepping anywhere near it.
Yeah, I haven't read the book, so I have no idea, to be honest, what it's like. I have an idea. No, but I have an idea going from everything you've seen about it. But I don't know.
If that film doesn't get an 18 rated certificate when it gets released, there's something seriously wrong.
Sequel to Sin City, Sin City 2, A Dame to Kill For, has been delayed to 2014. It was originally due to be released in October this year, but now has a release date of August next year. The delay is said to be to allow for special effects work to be fully completed on the movie.
That's a huge delay, nearly a year.
It is. I think as well that there may be something to do with not wanting to release it during the busy summer period because it probably won't do as well as other films, I think, because it's in America it's a graphic thing, so it's quite violent and it gets a high rating, so it means it won't get a lot of an audience. And my final piece of news, or two pieces of news really to do with Marvel, slightly. One is that Robert Downey Jr. has signed on to play Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, in Avengers 2 and Avengers 3, but has not signed on to appear for further standalone Iron Man movies. Avengers 2 is due to be released on May 1st, 2015. That's the date they got set for it. The other piece of news related to Marvel is with X-Men Days of Future Past, and that the date of that has actually been moved forward for release. It was going to be May 23rd, 2014. It's now going to be July 18th. Sorry, it was July 18th, 2014. Got that back to front. And it's now going to be May 23rd, 2014.
Yeah, I know the movie's got time travel themes to it, but I don't think you can be able to do that, go back and forward. No, it's a timey-wimey thing. Where's Doctor Who when you need him?
No, I hate that phrase.
A timey-wimey thing.
Yeah, I hate it. I really hate it.
Good. I know something that you'll hate, so I'll bring it up on the show every now and again, just to peeve you off a little bit.
I will go and buy a foghorn, I'm not kidding.
Okay, I can mute you, though. I've got lots of movie news to get through. So, according to New York Daily News, Will Smith will not be returning to the Independence Day sequel as he's too expensive. Director Roland Emmerich told them that Will Smith cannot come back because he's too expensive, but he's also been too much of a marquee name. It would be too much. 20th Century Fox also confirmed the release date of the film is July 3rd, 2015, and the fact that there'll only be one sequel and not two.
Well, okay, we'll see what happens. I'm not holding my breath. One sequel. Well, there'll only be one sequel, not two, until the second one makes a whole load of money, and then they go, "Oh, we need to make another sequel."
Yeah, there's a load of films coming out in the summer of 2015. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. There's going to be a ton of box office takings during those few months.
Unless something bombs.
Or something's delayed.
After Earth.
You really should see to that cough. William Fincher has confirmed that he will play Shredder in Michael Bay's live-action version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The actor said, "I play a Shredder, it's cool." He went on to say, "It's one of those things that came along where I thought, really? Let me think about this for a minute." Then I was like, yeah, okay, this sounds like a journey. I'm very glad that it worked out. I'm really glad that I'm doing it. TMNT is set for release in the UK on May the 16th, 2004. I've got written down 2014. That is really going back in time.
Yeah, that's... Well, in fact, when was the last Turtles film released in the cinema? That might be about right.
I don't know.
Turtles in Time as well. Wasn't it Turtles in Time that got released in the cinema last?
It was the animated film. I think something like 2009.
Yeah. I think that was 2007. I think it was.
Then a few weeks later on June the 6th in the US. So we're getting it 3 weeks before the US do.
Yeah, it seems to be the trend, which I'm not angry about. I'm not upset about that. But I mean, I like William Fincher, so I'm glad that he's been cast. It's one of those films. I'll wait till I see some footage from the trailer or something.
Yeah, I've been asked to see a no because no. Why?
Yeah, Dalek's just being very fastidious in the chat.
Yeah, okay then. Next piece of news: Variety are reporting that Arnold Schwarzenegger is signed on to star and produce zombie film Maggie. The actor will play a father who has to go on a journey with his daughter who has slowly become a zombie during an apocalypse. Ooh, a zombie apocalypse, that's something new.
Yeah,
the film is set to go into production at the end of the year.
So now, it was vampires, now vampires have become the thing, so it's now going to be zombies that will become the thing. Next is going to be werewolves.
We've had hints of werewolves with vampires. We have had a slew of werewolf films.
Yeah, but they've all been rubbish.
Yeah, so I think it's Frankenstein's or the Mummy's turn next.
Ugh.
Yeah. More news. Jim Carrey has gone on record and condemned the violence in Kick-Ass 2. The actor took to Twitter yesterday and said, "I did Kick-Ass 2 a month before the Sandy Hook incident, and now, in all good conscience, I cannot support that level of violence. My apologies to others involved with the film. I'm not ashamed of it, but recent events have caused a change in my heart." On hearing the news, executive producer Mark Miller said that Carey knew what he was getting into by taking the role of Colonel Stars and Stripes. He also stated that it's a movie and not a documentary, so of course it would have high level of violence.
I understand that, obviously, him saying that and all, but I think that he should have said nothing. He should have just not said anything. If he's not going to publicly support the film, then fair enough, but don't publicly condemn it, because that's just like clamouring for attention. That's just childish. That really annoys me that he did that.
Yep, I've got 3 more pieces of news, so I will steamroll through this.
Are any of them Star Wars?
No Star Wars news for your Booger, unfortunately. If you listen, keep on mentioning the Empire Talks Back podcast from Following the Nerd. They recorded yesterday, so it should be up on about Wednesday. Listen to that for Star Wars news. But there could have been much more news this week, and if we didn't have as many films to review, we would have had a lot more. Yeah. 20th Century Fox has announced that the upcoming Assassin's Creed film has been pushed back from its May 22nd release date to June 19th. It's unknown why they've done this, but the summer of 2015 is set to be a very busy one, including the new Star Wars film and sequel to Independence Day.
Well, I don't know. I'm not wild about the Independence Day sequels and the idea of them, so...
Assassin's Creed is going to get lost in all of the carnage of 2015, I think.
I think it might be... If it's a good film, I think it'll develop a following. I mean, it's got Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, but the last Ubisoft property to be released was the Prince of Persia film, and so that didn't do brilliantly at the box office.
That wasn't a failing of the film, though. The film was really good. It was a failing of the advertising and just...
Well, there you go. It's going to be released in months which contain the new Star Wars film, the new Independence Day film, a Marvel film, Guardians of the Galaxy, if that's released that year or whatever. It's going to be a nasty, nasty months for it. Should actually be brought forward or pushed back to the end of the year.
Maybe it will be.
Dumb and Dumber 2, spelt T-O, see what they did there, very smart, has finally been given the green light to start shooting. The Farley brothers took to Twitter again. Twitter seems to be the best place to release an announcement, isn't it? And said that it's official. Dumb and Dumber 2 is going into production with backing from Universal Pictures and Red Granite. The film was originally going to be handled by Warner Brothers, however they had dropped it last week.
I thought that it was going to be Dumb and Dumberer or something, or... Was going to be some kind of... I know that was the second one, but there was going to be some other take on that title or something.
Yeah, but they're going smartly with 2 and T-O instead of T-W-O. And final piece of news. According to the Wall Street Journal, an insider source claims that a Man of Steel sequel will be fast-tracked and released in 2014. The same source also claims that a Justice League film will arrive in 2015. Zack Snyder and David S. Goyer will return for the Man of Steel sequel.
Will be fast-tracked. It already has been fast-tracked. They announced it, they were going to do it before Man of Steel was released. As for Justice League, I don't think they should rush that. I think that needs to actually have some more time taken on it, because they've got that many things to do in it, too much to do in it.
Andy, I've been asked in the live chat, what is Andy's high score on Chubby Bunny? I don't want to ask what the hell that is.
I have no idea what he's talking about in there.
Neither do I. UK box office top 10 time. We'll try and steamroll through this as much as we possibly can. And number 10, the re-entry for Ye Jawani Here Dawani.
It's a Bollywood romance film that's done really well, because it's just about made £1 million.
Dollars,
yeah. Well, in that case, it has made $1 million, because the exchange rates will be higher.
Yeah. At number 9, The Purge.
It's a really good thriller. I really liked it. I was surprised, and I'm really impressed that it was made for $3 million. It's made £3 million in the UK, so it's more than made back what it cost just in the UK. And
it's made 60 million in the US, so it's 20 times its budget, which is huge. At number 8, Star Trek Into Darkness.
which I liked, but I have issues with because I am a diehard Star Trek fan. I like elements of it, and I enjoyed it, but I wish there was different decisions been made with it. But if you like Star Trek, it's worth seeing at least on a big screen and see it in IMAX if you can.
Yeah, I liked it. At number 7, The Great Gatsby.
Which I'm surprised how much I liked it, because I didn't expect to. I thought it was really good casting, really good performances, really well directed, and a great visual style. I still haven't seen it in 3D yet. I saw it in 2D, and I want to see it in 3D. So if you've got a chance to see it in 3D.
Yeah, number 6, Fast and Furious 6.
Which, again, surprising that how much of a fun film it is. It's not as good as the last one. Fast 5 is the best of the series. But I thought it was a worthy sequel, and although it does have a lot of things you have to get past in order to enjoy it.
And number 5, moving up from last week's number 8, Behind the Candelabra. Sounds very like I was on a chart show there.
I still haven't seen this yet, and I want to see it, but you've seen it.
Yeah, really good acting from both Michael Douglas and Matt Damon. Fantastic, actually, from everybody in the film. It's a brilliantly acted piece of filming. Number 4, Epic 3D, which again is the second film that took more this weekend than it did last weekend. It's boring. It's just boring. Don't go to see it. Avoid it. Go see Despicable Me 2 this Friday instead.
Yeah.
And number 3, well, you went to see it Saturday.
I went to see it Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 3, Hangover Part 3,
which is not as bad as the second one, but it's not as good as the first one.
That's rubbish, in other words.
That's it.
And number 2, After Earth.
Which is, it looks amazing. It's typical M. Night Shyamalan in style, but really poor performance from Jaden Smith in the lead, and Will Smith's performance, although I get what he's trying to do, it just doesn't work for the film. It's not a great film, but it looks great.
Yeah, damn you, Shyamalan.
I can't say his name.
Sorry. Neither can I. Shyamalan ding dong, that's all I say. And at number 1, and you went with for Man of Steel.
Which I really loved. You just liked.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that it's been an amazing thing to do. It is the Superman film I've been waiting to see for my life, basically, for the last 34 years. And I'm actually intending, I've seen it twice now. I was intending to go and see it today. I haven't had a chance, but I will be going to see it again this week sometime.
Yeah, I have no intention of seeing it a second time. I liked it, but it just has the Zack Snyder problems. If you know what his problems are like with these films that he's done in the past, it just has problems with that. And the last hour feels like he's just being screamed at.
There is a correlation of the further along it goes, the more it becomes heavy on effects, the less people will be interested in certain parts of it. But I enjoyed that. I liked, you get the full carnage that a Superman fight should have.
Yeah, according to Dalek Sec in the live chat, the Grumpy Ninja has spoken, but it was Andy who said it. It's Sham Allen from now on. So M. Night Shyamalan is going to be called Sham Allen.
Yes, it's Sham Allen. That's a great one. Who came up with that? Was that in the chat?
No, it was you who said it was Sham Allen. But Dalek Sec is just pointing out.
I'm saying Sham Allen is what I call him. I can't say it, but thinking Sham Allen, that's brilliant. Yeah, that's great. So,
yeah, we're going to go to an ad break. We'll be back in a moment with our first review.
Hey folks, it's Al the Bald Gamer Dude from Menage a Geek Podcast, and I'm here to ask you, what do you want in a podcast? Is it talking? Is it funny stuff? Is it two guys and a girl having a chat? Is it video game news? Is it movie news? Is it TV stuff? Is it just geek all out your ears and into your brain? If it is, then why are you not listening to us? We're on Spreaker, we're on Stitcher, we're on iTunes, we're on Twitter, all Menage a Geek. Menage a Geek. Listen to us.
Right, it's time for the first review of the night. According to the live chat, I'm being called either the Grumpy Ninja or Randy Ninja. I'd prefer the Grumpy Ninja.
At least you're being called Ninja.
Yeah, ninja of some kind. Ninjas are cool. Right, World War Z. Or World War Z, depending on how you want to pronounce it. But I walked up for my ticket and I said World War Z. So that's where I'm going to see it because I'm reviewing it. It's directed by Mark Foster and it stars Brad Pitt, who plays Jerry Lane. It's based on the book by Max Brooks, which I've read and Andy hasn't read, so it's interesting to find you'll get two different points of view of it. Andy's wrote a review for the site on mondaymovieshow.co.uk, so check that out as well after the show, not while you're listening to us. Like I said, it centres around Jerry Lane, who's played by Brad Pitt. He lives in Philadelphia with his family, his wife Karen, and his two daughters. They're out one day in the car, they switch on the radio, they discover an outbreak has happened. At first it's rabies, but then it could be something else. A lot of people seem to be charging down the street because there's an explosion in front of them. They end up getting out of the car and they have to run down the street because something keeps on chasing after them. They find refuge in a huge massive apartment building where they're kept there by a family, they're looked after by a family. And during the time in there, Jerry is contacted by his ex-employee saying that they need his help. So they arrange for a pickup on top of the roof at sunup, and so they need to get on top of the roof. Unfortunately for the family who's brought them in, they end up getting killed apart from the young boy. Timmy, I think he's called. Very generic name. Tommy. A very generic name still anyway. So they head up to the roof. When they get to the roof, something spits onto Jerry, and he's having to count down. He does a countdown from 10 to see if he changes or whatever, and nothing happens. They end up getting into a plane and extracted from the roof of the building. They get took to this huge, massive aircraft carrier ship. There's loads of ships around it because at sea it seems to be the safest place to be. While on top of this ship itself, Jerry is asked by his ex-boss to join them, to go out there to try and find out where the infections come from, where it's being spread from, and how to stop it. He gets together with a small team, because if he doesn't do that, his family will be thrown off to the ship. So he's put into a small team to try and find out what actually has gone on. Here's a clip.
Look, we don't know what we're walking into, so we do what they say. Okay. They move, we move. They stop, we stop. If things were to get crazy, just focus on their boots, focus on their voices, and we'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are hammers. And to hammers, everything looks like nails.
I heard that.
You were meant to. So you see something that's important, you call it out. We'll make it happen.
Okay.
Think we're gonna find anything?
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna find something.
So ultimately, this leads Jerry and his small team across the globe. His team obviously dwindles to places like Japan and Israel, and into the UK and Wales, where he has to go into this facility where he might be able to find a cure of it. Now, with this being based on a book, now if you've read the book by Max Brooks, the way the book is laid out is it's a collection of people's accounts. It's if you read the start of the book, the writer says that he's not going to put this as a straightforward story. This is just the accounts that he's spoken to people during this, well, you might as well say a zombie apocalypse, and just charting down the accounts. So he does go across the globe to many different places. In this film, he's only, the character of Jerry only goes across to a few different countries. In the book itself, it is fully global. And you do trying to shoot this, make a film out of the book would have been really difficult. It would have been the ultimate portmanteau kind of movie, more so than ABCs of Death, which is 26 little films. This would have been a lot more, and it would have been more confusing. So the way the film's actually done, it's structured like a proper film. So I give them a bit of plaudits for doing that, taking a hard book like this and turning it into a film. And what they've managed to achieve is actually not too bad. As usual, there are a couple of stumbling points in the movie itself. The special effects look pretty nice. You don't get to see much of the zombies that much, or the infected. So that's a bit of a letdown. And with it being rated at 15 as well, it's very borderline 12 year 15. It's only 15 according to the BBFC because of the violence, so there's very little gore in it. Little bits here and there. There's one scene where somebody gets a hand chopped off, but you don't see it happening. The last 25 minutes of the movie, that's where the huge problem arises, when they had to bring in Damon Lindelof to do some script rewritings, and it's a completely different movie. It feels like the last 25 minutes is from a different zombie film, from something like 28 Days Later, rather than World War Z. So It's a good film. Don't expect anything different that you've not seen before. It's just, it's taken the idea of Resident Evil, even though Resident Evil's on a global scale, you never fully see it on a global scale, but this time they've done it on a global scale, and it's the first time you'll have seen a zombie movie in this kind of scale itself. So it's good, but it doesn't live up to the brilliance of what the book is.
As you said, I haven't read the book, so I don't know it to compare. But I was surprised. Again, I went into this and I was like, I don't think I'm going to enjoy this much. And I did enjoy it, and I enjoyed it more and more as it went along. I definitely agree. It has a feeling. The more it goes on, there's this big ramped up thing that happens, and there's the sequences where there are zombies in the middle of it, where they're basically like a tidal wave of zombies running along, and it's quite sort of freaky looking. But then as it goes on and it gets to the last part of it, all of a sudden it kind of turns into like small budget kind of 28 Days Later. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I like the last sort of 25 minutes. I love the whole thing of how it just suddenly ramps down. It becomes a very small, more intimate kind of small budget film. And there's much more tension in that last 25 minutes than there is in the whole of the film. I found that I get a lot of people who will be looking for the zombie movie to be really violent and really gory and everything. I won't get this because it's been made. I'm pretty sure they aim to try and get this a 12A rating here because they got it a PG-13 in America. And it got a 15 here, which I think is right because there's certain elements and certain points in it where you like that's too much for a 12. But it doesn't have all of the gore and everything in it that you would normally expect of a 15 rated zombie movie. So anyone in the UK who's going to watch this expecting that kind of a zombie movie is going to be disappointed. You're not going to get that kind of zombie movie. It's more, I don't want to say more of an intellectual zombie movie, but it's more of a mental zombie movie than it is a graphic zombie movie. Do you get what I mean?
No, it's more like an action film with zombies in it rather than a zombie film.
Yeah, that's very accurate. But I will say that I did enjoy it. I did like it. I felt, though, that the thing is the director, Mark Forster, who is the director of Quantum of Solace, that's two films I've seen of his where, especially the first hour of World War Z, or Z, it keeps starting and stopping, and then jumping along. It takes these leaps in the story very quickly, and it feels as if it's very rushed, and that is what Quantum of Solace felt like as well. And that is a problem that I'm wondering if that is just his style, but that doesn't really work. But other than that, I really am surprised how much I liked it and I enjoyed it.
And one other thing though, I didn't actually fully latch on properly to the characters. I didn't actually believe that they were in peril at any time that much. Just from when they're running away from the zombie infected or whatever. But I didn't feel like they were in peril. Like his wife, I thought she was a very weak written character. I think I read in your review that you quite liked her character, but I thought she was very weakly written. Yeah, she's very weakly written. She serves basically a plot point at one point in particular, and you can see it coming a mile off, and she's a very predictably poorly written character, and just serves. It's like, oh, we need this to happen in the story. I know, we'll have her do this, and that's what it seems. But as I said, I walked out and I was like, you know what? I enjoyed that. I'm surprised I enjoyed it as much as I did. Okay. Next review then. Snitch, which is the new movie starring Dwayne Johnson. It's directed by Rick Roman War. It's also he's writing credit on it as well as Justin Hayth. It's a story which is based on a true story about a man who his son is arrested basically for drug trafficking. In the movie, how accurate that is to the truth is questionable because it is obviously a Hollywood movie. But Dwayne Johnson stars as John Matthews, who at the start of the film, he's a normal everyday guy. He's not involved with the law or anything. He doesn't have a criminal record or anything. He runs his construction company. He finds out from his ex-wife that his son has been arrested for receiving a package from his friend, and as part of a sort of a sting operation, has been arrested and is going to be prosecuted to get to be put in jail for 10 years, which is a mandatory minimum sentence. He then is offered, his son is offered an option of he could then set up someone else if he knows anyone else in the drug business or such, and set up a sting so that they are then arrested and he'll get a reduced sentence. But because he doesn't know anyone involved in drugs or anything like that, he says, I'm not going to do this, I can't do this, I wouldn't do this to one of my friends.
So John then decides what he's going to do is go and speak to the DA, the DA played by Susan Sarandon, and offer her that he will see about trying to make contacts and do it on his son's behalf. She initially turns him down, but he instead goes on his own reconnaissance to his work, where he owns this construction company. He knows people work in his construction company who are involved in criminal dealings, people who have criminal record and stuff. And he goes to speak with them to arrange and try and get in touch with drug dealers so he can then set this up and make this happen. Here's a clip.
I don't have product or distribution, but I do know business. If anyone needed transportation, I can provide that with no risk.
It's always risk.
My way minimizes it.
So how much weight can you move?
My trucks, 1/2 a ton without attracting attention.
1/2 a ton?
Man, if I was in a 1,000-pound business, I wouldn't be sitting in this dump right now.
Whatever you want to move, it won't matter in my trucks.
You're lucky he didn't rip you open, man. He's a heavy hitter. Runs the entire Adams district now.
All right. I'm signing off. Cooper is my witness. We arrest Mr. Anderson, and I will reduce Jake's sentence.
Jason.
Right. Jason's sentence.
So John then gets involved with these people and goes essentially undercover by himself to get involved with the drug people so he can then set them up and have them arrested. It is this thing, as I say, it's based on a true story, and so there is this issue of, you get films based on a true story, there's always something there that doesn't quite work. That's no difference with this film, because it has this problem of that at certain points it kind of turns into a TV movie, and then it ramps things up to become a big Hollywood thing. It adds in then these action sequences every now and again which kind of feel a bit edged in and a bit forced at places. They kind of do work, but you're kind of like, you feel, yeah, that was a bit unnecessary, this bit was too much, such and such. But you get the typical kind of characters that you have. You heard there Susan Sarandon's attorney, who is, she doesn't even remember his son's name properly. You have the cop who's there, who's just basically, I mean, and the thing is, the cop, the makeup on Barry Pepper, he literally looks like a member of ZZ Top with his big massive beard that he's got grown. It just looks so wrong. And you get this whole thing of that you've got the drug dealers who are the typical drug, you know, you get the stereotypical drug dealers that you've seen them 1,000 times in other things. It's an enjoyable thing. It's not bad. There are points in it when you go, oh, what's going on here? Why is this? And stretch out. You also get this whole sort of melodrama of the character that he gets to help him set up the drug dealers because he doesn't know about his son. He's keeping everything sort of down low and letting this guy basically walk into a trap with him. And it does sort of work. It's not bad, but the only reason that it is really worth seeing is because Dwayne Johnson gives a really good performance in it. And I don't mean an action film, because he doesn't, there's at no point he kicks into action and just starts, running around beating the crap out of guys. He is, when guns start shooting and flying, he's ducking and he's afraid, he's freaking out, he doesn't want to get shot. And he plays this as an everyday guy. He is a father who's freaking out and wants to get his son out of prison and help his son. And he also, he gives a really good performance. He's really worried about it. And it's the drama of his performance that is the thing to see this film for. It's really good. It's surprising how much of an actor he really is now compared to how he was when he first started out in films. So if you're curious about it as a Dwayne Johnson rock action fan, you will not like it. You'll be disappointed. If you're curious about it as a film and just see Dwayne Johnson go, you know what, he's a really good actor, then see this.
Okay then, I'll not see it then. I'm kidding. My cinema's not even showing it. It's a 12-screen cinema, but it's not. They're not even showing it.
It's another thing as well. It doesn't seem to have had a bigger release, but not a tiny release. It's kind of a medium-sized release. I think that's because it's come out though against like World War Z or World War Z. I don't know, decide which one, but I think it's just the timing of it has worked out not in its favour.
Yep, well, on to A Haunted House. This is another Scary Movie-esque parody kind of film. It's directed by Michael Tides and it's written by Marlon Wayans, who stars in this film. If you take the storyline of Paranormal Activity and turn it into a comedy, that's exactly what the storyline is. Here's a clip to give you a taste of what it actually is like.
What about that?
That was just the house settling. No big thing. Just go back to sleep. Just
go back to sleep.
The wind?
Negro, the windows are closed.
Oh, hell no! I'm out.
What? Malcolm!
Really?
So that gives you a feeling of what a haunted house is like. A couple move into a house, Malcolm and Keisha. She gets possessed by a demon, a bit like Paranormal Activity, and then all hilarity ensues when they have to try and get an exorcist, etc., in to get this demon out. It's crude. It's really crude humour. It's not as bad as Scary Movie 5. Scary Movie 5 was atrocious.
I was going to say this is worse than Scary Movie 5.
No, it actually... No, the reason why it's not as bad is because you expect this to be terrible anyway. I know Scary Movie 5 you expect it to be terrible, but coming from Marlon Wayans, you knew it was going to be peppered with fart jokes and stuff like that. And the reason why it's not as bad as Scary Movie 5 is because it only parodies one movie in Paranormal Activity. Scary Movie 5 parodies loads of different films. This one just sticks to its guns and goes with it. That's not to say that it's a good film, because it's not. It's not funny at all. It's beyond funny. It's just like boredom. It's boredom personified. And when I watched this, I don't think I laughed at all. I might have smirked because of obviously his reaction there when he's running away from how possessed it is and screaming like a little girl. You might get a tiny little smirk on your face, but that's about it. It's the kind of face that you pull when you've just broken wind. That's the kind of reaction that I had. So I think that probably says a lot about the film. But it's not a rant heavy from me.
So this movie induced flatulent faces.
Yeah. Yeah, put that on the poster.
Put that on the poster, that'd be brilliant.
One in this film may make you fart a lot. So it's a fart-inducing film. There you go.
I didn't think it was as good as Scary Movie 5. I mean, I enjoyed Scary Movie 5 a lot more, which...
I didn't. Scary Movie 5, I didn't laugh at all. I thought it was unfunny.
It's just... But this just felt really... There's literally, like, a whole scene to it where it's just, like, one joke, and I'm not kidding. The whole thing of, like, there's a bit when they're just in bed smoking drugs or something, whichever one it is, but it's basically they're there, and then the ghost comes, and the ghost starts smoking, and you're just like, really? That's supposed to be funny? And it's stretched out for like 5 minutes.
In what kind of movie you're going to see somebody getting raped by a ghost? So,
well, yeah.
That says a lot, though. I think that was cut from the film.
Yeah, but I think
Ghost,
the less said about that, the better, to be honest.
I think that was a DVD extra on the film Ghost.
Before moving on to the last review, I'm just going to also mention, because we've got House there, The Seasoning House was released this week, but unfortunately it was released nowhere near us, only in London. And it's a small British film that's kind of a horror thriller about a woman trapped in a house and has to try and fight her way out, that looks really very dark, but very, very interesting and very good.
Yeah,
we're both looking forward to seeing it.
It did really well at last year's Fright Fest. It was one of the standout films from last year's Fright Fest, and it was one of the films I actually really wanted to see myself, because it did look really good. I think I put it in my... When I selected films that I was wanting to see or expected to be good, that was in my list.
So hopefully that will get a wider release now after it's had its initial release week in London. But the final movie this week in cinemas is Black Rock, which is a small budget film written and directed by Katie Aselton, who also stars in the film as Abby, the first of three friends, or the other two being played by Lake Bell and Kate Bosworth, who are all meeting up. There is a sort of an ongoing sort of outstanding issue between a couple of them, that there is a past that something is sort of left unsaid or left unresolved between them. The three of them head out to this island out in the middle of nowhere that's known as Black Rock. When they get there, they're sort of just camping away for the weekend to have some fun. And while they're there, all of a sudden turn up these three guys who are hunters, actually out there hunting. It turns out are not only just hunters, they're actually ex-veterans from sort of the Iraqi war. They've only just recently come back to America from being dishonorably discharged. What happens is that all of them sort of get together one night, sitting around a fire, drinking, Abby walks off a bit, and one of the men goes off and actually then tries to rape her. In the result of that, she actually hits him over the head with a rock, which then causes him to actually eventually pass out and die. Leaving the three girls there sort of having to fight and survive and run off on this island and try and survive the other two men who have then basically taken their guns and are trying to kill them. It's a simple setup, simple film. It's not a brilliant film, but it's not as bad as it might sound until you get to sort of the last third of the film. And then it kind of starts really going downhill. There's decent sort of performances from them. I mean, you've got the three main actresses there. The two main actresses. You've got Lake Bell and Kate Bosworth, who are strong actresses. And I've not seen Katie Aston in anything before, so I don't know her from previous things. But she's pretty good in it as well. She's also the director, so it is you get that whole thing of it's a small film made on a small budget and a small crew. But there's literally points in it where you're sitting there waiting for something to happen and nothing does. And then later on something happens and you're just like, yeah, okay, whatever. And it's not a bad film, but it's just sort of uninteresting and doesn't make for a really good sort of entertaining watch as the potential setup makes it to be. It should be better, and that's what's a disappointment about it.
Well, we finally actually got through this show, considering we had a lot of content to scrape through. But
I'm going to go take a breath now.
We've got a couple of minutes left, but we will be back in a moment live on Spreaker with the DVD and Blu-ray show after we've had some oxygen and a drink of water or something, a cup of tea maybe. So make sure you tune into that. If you're listening to us like somewhere else on YouTube, on iTunes, etc., please leave us a rating. We've only got 10 ratings on iTunes. We want more. So give us a rating on that, and thank you to people who have been tuning in. So we'll be back in a moment.